Boy. Another day and another terribly racist take from Joy Reid. And I'm going to tell you guys, man, you know, I spend a lot of time on conservative Twitter. I spend a lot of time on conservative blogs, conservative circles, conservative friends. And I never see the amount of racism in conservative circles that I see from the left, right? Most of the racism that I see on a day-to-day basis, especially when it comes to social media, I don't really see too much on a day-to-day basis in real life, right? In the real world, okay? Because white people and black people and Hispanic people and Asian people, they don't hate each other in the real world, okay? Most people are living together peacefully, right? Despite what the media wants to tell you. But on social media, it's a war, okay? And most of the racism that I see comes from the liberal media. Basically 99% of it, okay? And Joy Reid, right, is race baiter number one. And this time she comes after Ted Cruz. Okay? As she passionately defends the For the People Act, right? AKA the less federalized elections so everybody can just vote Democrat bill, okay? And she compares Ted Cruz to Steven from Django because Ted Cruz is opposed to the bill. Take a look.
You know, Senator Padilla, Ted Cruz says a lot of stupid things. He does a lot of stupid things. But I personally, as a person of color, as a black person, am beyond offended that he would dare use the word Jim Crow when his party is literally a Jim Crow party at this point, trying to suppress the votes of people, including in his home state. I'm going to let both of you respond to him, starting with you, Senator, your colleague, Ted Cruz.
Oh, my God. Like you said, it's beyond offensive. It's beyond enraging, not just as a member of the Senate and a person of color, a voter of color in the United States of America, but as a former Secretary of State in California, where we know how to protect the security and integrity of our elections, but increase access to the ballot. Imagine that helping people vote easier. You know, it's what really upsets me, the hypocrisy of our Republican colleagues who say they want to make it easier to vote, but harder to cheat. We've already done the second part. Voter fraud is exceedingly rare in America, but they forget about the first part. They have no interest in making it easier for eligible people to vote. That's what S1 is all about. We can modernize our elections, strengthen our democracy, and create a baseline for voting rights across the country, and clearly they want no part of it.
You know, Janae, you work for an organization that has been fighting against Jim Crow and including Jim Crow voting laws, which were specifically designed to stop black people from being able to vote. What Ted Cruz's state, they sued to try to overturn the votes of other states' elections. Ted Cruz could give a damn about Jim Crow. He's never raised one concern ever in his entire life that I've ever heard about Jim Crow or racism or discrimination. Well, we shall see what happens. I think that this, what you see here on your screen, is what Republicans fear in the voting booth, and they're going to do everything they can to make sure it doesn't happen, including, Stephen from Django Unchained, a.k.a. Ted Cruz, who's working to stop fellow people of color from voting, which is amazing. Senator Alex Padilla, Janae Nelson, thank you both very much.
All right, guys. So Ted Cruz responded to this, and he said, I appreciate MSNBC lecturing me how people of my race are supposed to vote. This arrogant condescension is a big reason Hispanic voters are moving right in large numbers. Also, why is MSNBC okay with their host using overt racial slurs? Steven from Django? That's literally the exact same reaction I had, Ted. Exact same reaction. Because Joy Reid goes up there and says that Ted Cruz says stupid things and does stupid things. But yet, again, on a day-to-day basis, she says stupid things and does stupid things, right? Again, this is not even one of her most stupid takes, okay? Y'all remember not too long ago, she was talking about how Texas was reopening so black people can make white people steaks, right? So black people can cook white people steaks. And MSNBC allows this on their channel. Guys, imagine if somebody on Fox News, imagine if Hannity or Tucker said something like this, right? Imagine if Tucker Carlson had used the analogy that, well, all black people that's in the Democrat Party are on the Democrat plantation. Just imagine if he used that analogy, what the media would be saying. They would be calling for his head. They will be calling for his head. I mean, they already call him racist for being against illegal immigration. But the irony of this is that Joy Reid has spent most of her journalistic career shilling for the Democrats. And the Democrats have not given black people anything in return. Nothing in return. Okay? The same party that she's pushing on minorities to vote for, as if you're some type of traitor to your race, right? Including Hispanics, right? Hispanics got to vote Democrat too. If you are a person of color, if you are non-white, you have to vote Democrat according to people like her. Okay? She spent her whole life shilling for them, particularly in this situation, shilling for people to go out and vote Democrat just for them to get screwed over by the Democrat policy. And you're comparing Ted Cruz to Steven from Django, right? It sounds to me like you the one that actually might be the slave here, okay? Because you're doing the work of this party, and the people that you're trying to get to vote Democrat are not getting anything in return except the ability to vote for more Democrats. That's it. That's what you're fighting for. You're not fighting for anything except the ability for more people to vote Democrat, to pass policies that are going to hurt those people and have them more dependent on the government. But she doesn't care about that because she's collecting a check. So she doesn't really care about any of that. And, you know, when we talk about the For the People Act, when we talk about, you know, these elections, it does not make you racist or pro Jim Crow to be against the federalizing of our elections. Each state has its own way of operating. Okay. We are a representative government, right? We're a representative government, right? Each state sends representatives to the federal government. Okay, and the state should decide how they want to send those representatives to the government. It's not the federal government's job to determine how the states do that. It's the state's job to determine how they do that. That's the way the country is set up. That's the way the founders envisioned it. And the Republicans are just saying, listen, we don't want our elections federalized. We don't want the federal government doing another power grab and controlling how states can run elections. The federal government is already too big. You want it to grow bigger. Again, for what? For black people and Hispanics to vote Democrat? But like Ted Cruz said, this type of paternal relationship that the Democrats think they have with minorities is the exact same reason why a lot of minorities are being red-pilled and they're moving over to the Republican Party. Okay, they're leaving the Democrat Party, they're moving over to the Republican Party, they're becoming conservative because we're sick and tired of being lectured by Democrats on how we're supposed to vote just based off our skin color. This Ted Cruz is not the first person. She called Tim Scott a token. Tim Scott, a token. Every person who's not white that's a Republican to her is some type of slave or some type of token, and they're working against their own people. But she's not a token though, because if she wasn't a black woman, she wouldn't have this job. She wouldn't have it. Her sole job on MSNBC or MSDNC is to get black people to vote Democrat. That's it. That's it. That's why she talks about race all day, right? Race and feminism. That's what she talks about all day long. That's what she sees the world out of the race and feminist lens, because her only job is to play the race card, is to be racist. That's her only job. Ted Cruz and Tim Scott don't play the race card, but yeah, they're tokens. They're tokens. Even though they don't really play the race card, they don't try to appeal to people just based off race. They try to appeal to people based off policy. They don't go out there just talking about race, right? She said it herself, like, Ted Cruz has never mentioned Jim Crow. Yeah, you know why he hasn't? Because he knows that we're not living in the Jim Crow era, right? Ted Cruz is smart enough that he can make arguments and convince people without having to use race as a crutch. But she can't do that. But yeah, oh no, Ted Cruz is a token. Tim Scott's a token, even though their whole political career is not based off just their race. Her whole career is based off the fact that she's black and a woman. If she was not a black woman, she would not have this job, period. Just because I agree with having less government, lower taxes, more freedom, how does that make me a traitor to my own people? How? If anything, I want my people to keep more of their own money. I want my people to be able to invest their own money. I want my people to be able to control their own destiny. I don't want my people to be at the whims of the federal government. Okay? If anything, that makes me pro-freedom, right? But that's not the way she sees these things. She sees everything out of a racial and feminist lens. Everything. She can't do any analysis unless it has to do with race. Again, she's got to the point now where she doesn't just tell black people that they can't vote Republican. She tells Hispanic people the same thing. Right? She thinks she has control over the thought of all people of color. And again, this is why people are moving over to the Republican Party. This is why minorities are moving over and becoming more conservative. Because of this type of rhetoric right here. And Ted Cruz is exactly right. To imply that the man is a traitor to his own people. He's working against his own people just because he's against the federalizing of our elections is really dishonest. It really is. And guys, I hope that one day my platform becomes big enough that I can go on MSNBC and debate Joy Reid. That's the person I really want to debate the most. I want to debate Joy Reid because I'm sick and tired of this rhetoric coming from her. She is the most racist, vile person on television. She is the biggest racist on television, period. Period. There's no bigger racist than Joy Reid. And it's so hypocritical from the Democrats and the left to continue to let her spill this racist language just for their own political gain. But anytime the Republicans say anything, having to do with strictly policy, it's all racist. It's Jim Crow. When she's just overtly saying racist things solely based off race. She told black people that Texas opened up a state for us to cook white folks steaks. Come on, man. But anyways, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.